in their design on their subwoofer that they added to this package. My subwoofers are 12. They should kick harder than Bose's subwoofers. I got an amp that runs these subwoofers on a pair. I got another amp that runs the pair of each stick. I'll complete this stick that I was working on over here, and I'll have two pairs. Now, by finding $2 speakers, using a Home Depot gift card, a stanchion mount bottom that I got for free from a grocery store that was throwing it away. I asked somebody, they said you could have them, so I got two of those. A piece of pipe, 3/4 inch, threaded extra. That means I paid an extra of $4 for the threading, I guess, something like that. Each of these guys came out with the stuffing and the using of the foam, the green foam that I got from a carpet guy. Amazingly, I think I only have $120 in one and $120 in the other. Now, that's cheap. If I had the opportunity, I would love to upgrade the speakers themselves, these guys. And if I was going to do it, at this point, I would buy a bunch of used, but in good condition, Bose 901 802 4-inch. Now, Bose made them with 3-hole mounts and 4-hole mounts. I would prefer the 4-hole square mount because it would be easier to rack them in this thing. Be much easier. I also wouldn't need that extra piece of wood and the extra 32 holes I had to make. These things sound amazing. I'll try to put out a video of how they sound. One stack is supposed to be for one musician, another stack for another. I plan to use them in mono with I think 300 watts going to this side, 300 watts going to that side, and 300 watts going to the subs. I'll try to put out a video that shows what they can do, even with these terrible car speakers. They just are one driver with a whizzer cone. Okay, on the dust cap there is a whizzer cone on this thing. It's a lot of effort, folks. A lot of hole cutting, a lot of re-hole cutting. I did use a Dremel tool. Frequently, if I found for some reason that my hole wasn't wide enough, I could use the Dremel and just Dremel this thing out to make it larger without doing exaggerated holes or making a goof with a jigsaw. Hope this has helped, folks. Okay, you can build these things, guys. The main thing is the 5-inch pipe. The 5-inch pipe costs $18 per 8-footer, and then I had a little bit left over, which I used to build my tweeter tee. I used a little bit left over. I did need a stick of 2 sticks of PCV vinyl to glue it to the top. You could use a board, it wouldn't matter. A lot of drywall screws, a lot of caulk to make sure this thing is airtight. Put the bracing in the back, like I showed you, in 4 places. There's a stick of wood here, a stick of wood in here, a stick of wood in here, and a stick of wood in here. That's so I can mount my pipe, but mount it at least 3/4 inches off the back of the enclosure so that I could use it as a handle to pick the thing up. Okay? But I think we're talking $120 a pop. I'd love to upgrade to the Bose speakers. I don't have the money for it. Anybody wants to give a generous donation of $1 if this helps you, let me know. I'll take it, because then I would upgrade them all. If you were to do this really, really well, in other words, if a copycat company was to come out, the truth is a $200 mixer, a $300 amp, and a $200 amp will cover subs, will cover the mixing board quality, and then you'd have to have a $150 to $200 sub for one stick. True cost brand new on these things should be about $1,500. That's using quality speakers, quality stuffing, factory line production. I don't understand why some copycat company isn't doing this, because this effect where the sound comes out in a line at you is that the spread is amazing off of that little thing. And I'm not even using corners to bounce off the walls, though it would work well in that application. You just EQ for it until you got your sound right, mixed with your subwoofer. Like I said, my subwoofer acts a little more like a higher end driver because I'm crossed over at 600 ohms and then I control it with an EQ. I hope this helps you. You can build them, you can spray paint them, you can make them black, and if you make them cheap like I did and scavenge as many materials and supplies as you can, you're looking at about $120 per 8-foot stick. If I bought the Bose system, that's $2,400 each. Now, prettier, easier to put together, no time put into it. I'll agree with Bose on that. No research. But mine does a remarkable job for a bunch of 5-inch car speakers made in China of heaven knows what quality. But they all hit, and they hit the mid-range, and they seem to be very good from about 1K, 600 to 1K up all the way till they begin to lose it at 12K, at which point I boost a little bit at 12K to 16K on my equalizer. Okay, the tweeter has filled in the 12K to the 16K to some degree, so I'm now boosting less than I was with my tweeters up there. This can work, guys, and it's cheap, and it's all done with a fence post and a way to rack it, stack it, and make it work. Have fun. I hope this helped. Some additional notes that I didn't talk about. When I chose my carpet runner, I looked for something that had a pattern like a grid on the back that was rubberized but not flat rubber, because it's hard to smooth the rubber against the plastic surface, even using the spray adhesive. And I figured this would fill the gaps better, glue better, and flex better. It's not that thick, but this was to knock down and buffer the standing waves inside the box to try to keep them from just resonating like crazy in the tube. Okay, so I picked this carpet runner, rubberized on the back but not full flat rubber. When I drove my screws into my chock blocks to hold my pipe on the back end, and when waves are going down the box, I wanted them to hit a barrier and bounce over it, because that will keep them from causing a resonance, I hope. My theory. I used 2 different types of screws. I started out with drywall fine thread, thinking more threads would hold better. It didn't. Okay? What held better was the coarse thread. Okay? If you'll note on the top one, the thread is coarser, but it sticks out farther. It held better when screwing into the wood block. Okay? So all my screws became coarse thread drywall, not standard thread or fine thread. You'll find that you need different sizes of screws. You're going through different amounts to get into your bottom plate, and through there you're going to need a different length screw for the long side. Okay, so you'll need 2 different sizes of screws to mount these triangulated plates. Okay, like I say, you're going to wear lots of sawdust when you're sanding these. And cutting them on the table saw is dangerous. Be real careful. Don't be a kid doing this, okay? Other thing that I'm having difficulty with that I'll let you know about, my clamp system. In my additional notes here, my clamp system was a piece of U-shaped shelving bracket cut to a 4-inch strip with a metal clamp across, and it's a standard conduit clamp for electrical. It's then screwed directly through a hole in the clamp into that block of wood that I just showed you. When I screwed through this guy, okay, what I'm finding is this is sliding. It's not gripping well enough, so I'm going to need a set screw here on each one of my 4 down the pipe. Once I get the height the right distance, I'm going to screw a hole in here and put in a set screw to make sure these guys don't keep working their ways down the pipe. That turned into something that I'll have to deal with.